You're listening to the Business Club for Grown-Ups podcast with Jessica Fernley. Hi there and welcome to episode 4 of the Business Club for Grown-Ups podcast. Today we're going to be looking at how to beat shiny object syndrome. And I don't know if straight away that's something that really strikes a chord with you and you think, oh, shiny object syndrome, that is so me. Or maybe that's a term that you haven't actually really heard before. So I'm just going to start by outlining what it is. So basically, shiny object syndrome is becoming a little marketing magpie. And what I mean by that is it's actually a kind of hoarding. So if you buy a lot of courses, but you never find yourself actually doing them, it's going through the motions online and coming across lots of very exciting courses, programs, opportunities, even free downloads. It doesn't have to be a financial investment that you make, but you see lots of things that get you really excited, that completely distract you from what you're supposed to be doing in your business. And you just go, oh wow, I must have that. I must download that. I must do that course. And it can feel like quite a good thing. It can be quite a natural thing in the early stages of your business. Because actually when you're new to online business, there's loads to learn, there's loads you want to get out there and really get your head around. But actually it becomes something unhealthy and that doesn't help you because it keeps you at that very early stage where you're just constantly downloading things, you're constantly looking for new courses, constantly signing up for stuff, but you're never actually implementing the things that you're learning about. And if you imagine like a little magpie sitting on their nest full of shiny things that they found, by the way, I have no idea if that's actually true about magpies. That's totally my understanding that they steal things, they like things that are shiny and they go and put them in their nests and hoard them and sit on them. I literally have no idea if that's what magpies actually do. So says the nursery rhyme or wherever we've heard that from. But yeah, if you can imagine sort of someone in a very cluttered house, it's kind of the same thing. You know, why do we have clutter in our homes? Because we buy stuff, we don't use it, but we feel like we must keep it, we must hoard it. And yet we never get the benefit of it because it stays shut away in a box or piled up to the ceiling. You can imagine someone, you know, with magazines piled up to the ceiling, they're not going to read any of them, are they? They're just there. And in the same way, shiny object syndrome can look from the outside like, you know, we're buying content, we're consuming courses, we're putting all these things in progress. And yet it stops being something which flows through. It starts being something which we're in a lot of different membership programs, but we're not really active in any of them, or we're just dipping into lots of things all the time, but we're never really finishing anything, which I think can be a massive challenge, can't it? Because it's something that we have to learn how to do. How do you be in an online space surrounded by all this amazing content all the time from all these different people? Because there are just thousands of people running courses out there, aren't there? And what I'm going to be talking about in today's episode is how we cope with that deluge of information and yet we don't get overwhelmed by it, we don't get completely thrown off course by it. So I've actually made a little quiz which will be in the show notes of this episode for how you can tell if you are suffering from shiny object syndrome, and I hope you find that helpful and useful. Do pop along and do it after you've listened to this episode. You may actually just want to hit pause and go and do the quiz now and then come back and listen to the rest of the episode afterwards. But here are some signs that I think you'll start to see if you are suffering badly from shiny object syndrome. So firstly, if you buy a lot of courses, but you never finish them, if you never even start them, isn't that terrible? But that does happen. And it might be that, you know, you get buyer's remorse and you just think, oh, actually, I never should have bought that one. It wasn't really ever going to be something that would help me. Or it could be that you start it, but the content just isn't quite right for what you wanted. It could be that the course has been slightly overhyped or missold in some way. But equally, it could be that the course is completely helpful. It's just you're not in that place yet to do the work. And so you want the result, you buy it, but then you just never actually finish it. I think equally what you see on the outside if someone is really having a problem with shiny object syndrome is a real obsession with the peripherals of your business. So I say this quite often, people who work with me are probably rolling their eyes hearing this, but I think if it's always about the vision board, it's always about what does my website look like, what is my colour scheme, you know, all of these things which they have their place and they can be very important. We don't want to neglect those things and ignore them completely. But if you're always doing those things which aren't actually bringing money into the business, that can be a sign that actually shiny object syndrome has got you in its hooks. I think as well, if you're not making the money that you want to be in your business, so It might be that you actually have quite a high turnover in your business and quite a lot of money is coming in, but equally a lot of money is going out. That can be a sign that actually you're not making the money that you want to be, because you're not prioritizing your income, and instead it's all about the outgoings. It's all about, what am I investing in to make my business what it needs to be? If you're too focused on your outgoings and you don't have a healthy income to support that, I'll talk about that more in a minute, but when we make investments in our business, we always want it to be supporting the income that we have. We want to see that return coming back to us. So it should never be a case that you spend all of your money on an investment that doesn't actually increase your income. That isn't going to help your business. And that's a really important thing. I'll talk about that more in a moment. But first, I think it's helpful if we spend some time thinking about, why do we get shiny object syndrome? Because that is the key to really understanding what's going on. If it's something that you find yourself repeatedly doing, if you're like, oh, why did I download that free PDF when actually I know that I'm not going to work on this at the moment and it's just a distraction. Why did I do that? So I think a key thing is fear. I think sometimes we have this major fear of missing out. It can seem like online there's just this massive buzz, isn't there? And there's people talking about all the amazing things that they're doing in their businesses. And sometimes we can hear that and we don't feel like, yay for you. We just feel a bit squashed and we feel a bit like, oh, am I missing something? Are they doing something which has made their business really successful? And, should I be doing more? And that's something that I think we really have to tackle kind of in our core, because that never really goes away. It doesn't matter how well your business is doing. If you're in this habit of looking over your shoulder and comparing yourself to other people, that will never really stop until you decide that what you're doing in your business today, where you are now, that is the right place for you and you're content in that place. And that's not to say that we don't have an ambitious plan for growing our businesses, because it's awesome when we do. And we need that vision that we're working towards powerfully. But there's a difference, isn't there, between having a vision for the future and having an internal dialogue that always says, you're not really doing enough. Your business is pretty pathetic compared to her business, or compared to his business, or compared to whatever it is out there that we're seeing, and we're telling ourselves we don't measure up. I think it can also come down to scarcity. So again, anyone who knows me and has worked with me will know how much I love scarcity and abundance, because for me that has been a massive mindset lesson that I've had to learn. I'll put something in the show notes to just fully explain what that is if you haven't come across it before. But basically, we have beliefs about the world, don't we? We have beliefs about ourselves and about our businesses. So scarcity and abundance, it takes those beliefs and it puts them into words, and we either fall into the side of scarcity or we fall into the side of abundance. It's a diagram with a line down the middle and scarcity on one side and abundance on the other. And so on the scarcity side, we have beliefs like, oh, money is scarce. I have to work really hard to get money. There's a lot of competition out there. It's a very crowded marketplace. People don't want the skills that I have. Anyone can do what I do. And it goes into a lot more detail than that. You'll see the show notes. And that's actually a really powerful thing, because if we're telling ourselves, oh, anyone can do what I do, it's really easy to do the work that I do, instantly we devalue ourselves, don't we? And so then we need a lot of external input, because on my own, I'm not good enough. I need other people to tell me what to do because I just don't know. Whereas if we can approach our businesses from a place of abundance, that becomes a really powerful thing. So if we're able to say, actually, I don't believe that money is scarce. I believe that money is abundant and it's all around me, and it's not hard to make it. If I make a wrong decision, if I lose a little bit of money, then I can earn it back again. That then gives you confidence that you don't have if you're on the scarcity side. If you believe that the skills that you have are important and are special and make you someone who is valuable to other people, that changes the way that you talk about yourself and your business. That changes the way you hold yourself. That changes the things that you will try in your business, because you have a belief that is possible underlying everything that you do. I think sometimes we get shiny object syndrome because we want the results that people are promising to us, but we aren't actually ready to do the work, whether that's we're not kind of prepared to do the work. We want the result. We've seen someone's really effective marketing and we've just thought, I'd love it if my business was like that. I'll pay the money. I'll do what they're saying because I want that result. Sometimes it's actually because emotionally we're not willing to do the stuff that they're asking us to do. So we kind of say, well, I've paid the money. Is that enough? But equally, I think sometimes if the investments that we're making in our business are not tied into the strategy that we have for our business. So, for example, if you know that you want to develop certain things in your business over the course of the next year, just say you want to get an online course up and running, But then you also see something about how to be really good at LinkedIn and you just think, oh, I'd love some more leads into my business. Maybe I should do LinkedIn as well as the online course that I'm doing. That actually is a major distraction from the thing that you've already decided that you wanted to do. So it doesn't really make sense to do it, but somehow we feel like if I invest in that, I'll find the time, it'll be fine. I'll make sure that I definitely do that. But actually, if we don't have a plan to work on the courses that we're buying, if we don't have a plan to put the recommendations of a coach that we're working with into action, then we're just planning to fail effectively, aren't we? Because you can't gain these things by osmosis. It's not a case of you just pay the money and get added to the Facebook group and then suddenly all these magical things happen. You really do have to do the work in your business if you want to see the result. So I think it can kind of come from a place of seeing an offer which is really enticing, and we have to kind of get attuned to that, don't we? We have to realise that some people are really good at marketing, so they can take anything and make it sound like you need it so desperately. And we get that so often in online circles, particularly I think if you're scrolling through your Facebook news feed kind of idly, or even if you just come across something and you think, that at the right time, that would be really, really helpful. But if it's not in line with the strategy that we've already worked out for our business, then that just really stops us from achieving the things that we want to achieve. And that's why it's so important to have a goal and a plan for our business at all times, just so that we know that we're not going off course and we're not getting sidetracked and we're not just happening to stumble across something on Facebook that then we click on and then we download the free PDF and then we sign up for the course because it sounds so awesome and it's only available at this price for 45 minutes. What can I do? I think sometimes that can be a real stumbling block in our business. It's important as well to know that I think sometimes we get really stuck with shiny object syndrome because we are actually blocked. So we're scared to move forward. It might be that you know exactly what you need to do and you just think, yeah, but I just can't do that. Whatever it is, it might be doing a TED talk. It might be launching an opt-in because what if we do it and it fails? What will that look like? It could just be that we feel a bit overwhelmed. We don't know exactly what we need to do and we don't know how to find out that information either. So a really good short-term way of getting around that discomfort and that feeling of being blocked and knowing that we might have to go beyond what we're comfortable with is to just download something, because it's so easy and it kind of rewards that desire, doesn't it, to take action, because then you can say to yourself, yeah, but I've downloaded that. Yeah, but I've got a plan to get that sorted. I just need to do that course that I bought and then it will all be fine. And so you can kind of tell yourself, I'm taking action on this. But the truth is, we're not taking action, are we? We're not taking action at all, because we're just in that situation where we're hoarding the courses, we've got things lined up or saved onto a computer or bookmarked in our browser or even flagged in our email inbox, but we're not logging in to do the course. We're not taking the action. We're not implementing the things that would actually benefit us. So I think it's really important to understand all of those things that can be going on with us emotionally that lie behind shiny object syndrome, because then we can start to really make progress with moving away from that behaviour. So how do we move past shiny object syndrome? Well, first of all, I think it starts by saying no. So when you get that excited feeling and you just think, I have to do this course will change my life, I really must do it. I think it's important to say to yourself, what would happen if I said no? What would happen if I didn't make that investment? Because sometimes we can get so swept up in the momentum of someone else's marketing campaign that we say yes to things which really don't make sense for us. So if you're someone who has got used to making an investment and then really regretting it and just thinking, oh, I wish I could have my money back because I don't think I thought about that for long enough before doing it. That's a really important thing to take on board, isn't it? And to just be ready to say no. Actually, why don't I wait for a few weeks? Why don't I wait for a few months? Is this the most important thing for me at the moment? Because I think alongside that saying no, it's really important to, when you say yes to something, say 100% yes. So I'm a bit of a teacher's pet by instinct. I really like to do things well if I'm doing someone else's program. So if I say yes to something, I will be there front row, super keen. I want to do all my homework immediately because I want to get the gold star. That's my instinct. That's how I work best, actually. And I've found that over time, it's really served me a lot better to understand that about myself and to channel that in positive ways. So that the negative side of that is that it used to make me quite competitive and I would want to be the best. Whereas now I don't feel like that's something which makes me compare myself to other people and look to outperform other people in the same way. But when I do say yes to something, I commit 100%. And so I think that's a really important thing for getting past this shiny object syndrome, which can be a bit detached. It can make you a bit disinterested. Yeah, I'll sign up and I'll pay the money, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do the work yet. Don't be like that, because that won't help you, or it won't help your business. If you know that you don't have time, if you know that you're not actually very committed, or if you even know that you want the result but you're not willing to do the work at the moment, then just say no, because you'll save the money and your business won't look any different, because if you weren't planning to implement the course anyway, it won't have brought you any benefit. I think it's also helpful to have a bit of an audit. So look at the things that you're currently investing in that you're not using, and just ask yourself, why am I not using that? So it could be a variety of reasons. It could be that actually it's not a very helpful course after all. It could be that the person teaching the course is not actually teaching stuff which is relevant to you or useful to you. It could be that it's been overhyped or missold. But equally, it could be that it's really good content, but you're just not really ready to do the work, or you're not really interested enough in the topic, or you got really excited about it at one point, but then you just feel like, actually, that's not something that I really want to invest in anymore. That's not something which still makes strategic sense for my business. And if you know that those things are true, like, there's no shame in it. This is how life goes. This is how business goes. Sometimes an avenue opens up and we just feel really excited about it and it seems like it's going to be really good. But then we try it out for a little bit and actually it's not bringing the results that we wanted it to. So there's no shame in just saying, you know, this was the right thing when I signed up for it, but I don't need to keep it going any longer. And certainly in my programs, I don't really like having people there who just, they've come in, but they're not involved in any way. They don't really want to do the work. They're not really wanting to be part of a community in the way that I want them to. I always want the people who are super excited, who are ready, who want to do the work, because that's how we get results. And it's not fun for me if people in my programs are just kind of, I don't really care about this actually. And I have to say that's not something I experience very often anymore, because I really set my programs up so that it's a really easy thing for people who want to be there to get in. But my sales process actually involves quite a lot of initiative to be taken by the person coming into the program. So they don't just end up in my programs by accident. They have to work a little bit hard to get in there, because I want people to want to do the work. So that's how things are set up. But I think have an audit, and if you can see that there are things that you're just not using in your business, maybe it's time to leave a few memberships. Maybe it's time to actually start using a few of the courses that you've paid for. So take the time, set it aside, and actually sit down and say, this week I'm going to get this done. Because I think particularly when you're in a membership program, it can be really easy to join up and then never actually do any of the training courses that come as part of the membership program, and you always know that it's there, so you could come back to it at some point. I think it's really good to try and keep up to date with those programs if you do them, and just make a list of the things that you think, I would really like to do these modules that are available, and then keep yourself accountable. Find an accountability partner within that group and just say, do you know what, I'm going to get the benefit of paying this money to be in this group. I'm going to put these things into practice in my business, and if I'm really not willing to do that, then I'm going to quit the group. A really important thing for your business is to have a plan and to invest in things which help you achieve your goals. So for the programs that I've invested in this year, they have been things which are going to help me achieve the goals which I've already set. And so that's how I know that it's a good investment. And it makes me super excited to do them, because it's a direction I wanted to go in anyway. So it's given me that push. It's given me that extra momentum to definitely follow through. It's like an amazing kind of accountability moment, isn't it? Because if you can use joining a program to say, this is me investing in myself, committing to this result, which I'm going to work hard to get with the help of the person who's running this program, that becomes a really powerful thing. And that, can you see the difference between that kind of attitude and then just drifting in because you kind of think, yeah, I would like to do that. I probably won't do it at the moment, but like, it's nice to know it's there if I need it. Energetically, that's such a different thing to be saying. And I think lastly, sometimes because we can invest in things feeling like I've got a problem in my business and investing in this solution will fix it. It will take that problem away. I'll never have to deal with it again. That can be a major temptation, can't it, actually? That we can want to just pay someone money because that will tick the box in our head. That will make us feel like the problem that we're facing will just be taken away and we almost won't have to do anything about it. You know, work with a coach and then everything will be better. It's never that simple though, is it? Because coaching is always about the individual. Coaching is always about helping the person to do things, never doing it for them. That's not coaching, that's something different. And I think the two concepts can get very tangled up in the online world, because being a coach has become something that we talk about quite openly, and yet most coaches don't know anything about coaching, and they're either teaching or they're doing it for you and calling it coaching. Certainly when I started my business, I think there was a lot of talk about a particular narrative that goes along the lines of, I used to have some really bad problems in my business, and I tried various things, but then the one thing that I found that would really fix that problem was working with a high-level coach. And I remember being in a very early stage of my business and just thinking, I am finding it quite difficult at the moment. I wish that I had more leads coming through. I've got capacity for more clients than I have at the moment. And everyone is saying that if I just work with a high-level coach, then that will just fix all the problems that I have. Look at that person. They've got a whole empire of their business now, and it's because they invested in a high-level coach. And I have to say, just be ready to see that for the rubbish that it is. So if you're tempted by a super high-ticket program, which it costs like 5 to 10,000 or even more than that, there are so many expensive, really like eye-watering investments out there that you can make, and at the right point in your business that can be the right thing for you. But in the early stages of your business, you can't just pay the money and then cut out all of the learning that you have to do, because so much of your business is taking that next step, and you can't just skip over that whole stage. You've got to grow your business sequentially, effectively. So if you've got the money and you want to make that big investment and it's not of any consequence to you, if you lose the money, then fine. But if you're in a situation where investing in a really high ticket program, investing £5,000 to £10,000 or even more, and you really can't afford to lose that money, and your business is not bringing in money that would compensate for that easily, it's so easy to make an investment thinking, it's okay, I'll get the money back because they say that they can do these things in my business, and then I'll have a multiple 4-figure income or even 5-figure income every month. So it's a no-brainer. Of course I should pay the money. But I think, unfortunately, what tends to happen in those situations is that people pay the money and then they don't see the results. And sometimes, increasingly, I'm speaking to people who have paid the money, and the content that they've received in the program they paid for is not good and doesn't help them. And it's a real wake-up call. So I think always find an investment that's proportional to where you are in your business. Even if you're looking at something which is really expensive, which is beyond your reach, or you could use savings or go into debt or any of these things to pay for it, there's usually an option which will be affordable, which will be proportional to where you are. It may be that you can't just have something completely outsourced, that you have to take on some of that yourself, that you need someone to do a course that you have to sit down and commit to doing, and it's not very fun. You've got to do it on your own, and it doesn't feel as magical as if you join this amazing program where everyone is floating about with their Lamborghinis, being super successful and super wealthy. But you've just got to realise that so often they're selling you something which is not going to materialise. And that's not to say we should never invest in our business. Of course, I don't think that. And that's not the way that I've run my business. But it's just making sure that you're investing kind of with your business head on, and you're thinking, I can literally see the way that this is going to bring a return. But more importantly, if it doesn't bring a return, that will not sink my business. That will not plunge me into debt that I can't repay. I think it's important to have the right expectations when we do make an investment. And we can really be wise in the way that we invest. When we see something and we say, yes, I can see that this investment is going to make a good impact on my business. And it's not going to be like a business transforming investment where it's all or nothing. The best things that happen in our business happen gradually, and they do take hard work. And I think when we can start to be realistic about that and start to understand that, then we're not going to fall foul of shiny object syndrome in the same way. So I hope that's been helpful. Shiny object syndrome is something that can just affect all of us. And like I said right at the beginning, it's really common, I think, as we move from that very early stage of our business into a stage where we're ready to do more of the work ourselves than maybe we were at first, and where we're ready to stand on our own 2 feet that little bit more. You don't necessarily need to buy every course out there in order to build your business and learn and grow. What you need to do is find the right courses with people that you trust, that you can verify that they can do what they say they can. And it really is so important to make that commitment so that when you do say yes to something, you're there 100% and you're going to put what you're learning into practice, because that's how we really get results in our business. As I mentioned before, I've done a little quiz for you all. You can get to it in the show notes. It's called Do I have shiny object syndrome? I hope that you'll find that a really useful thing, and I'd love to hear how you get on with it. Together we can get through shiny object syndrome. It's not how we're all destined to be forever. So if you recognise yourself in some of the things that I've been talking about today, it's not too late for you. Let's take action now and let's move forward in a way that's going to be meaningful for your business. Thanks for listening. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. You've been listening to the Business Club for Grown-Ups podcast with Jessica Fernley. To find out more, visit thebusinessclubforgrownups.com.